the Princess Elizabeth, the Junior Open 8th event, dates from 1946. Somebody's looking to make history in 2025. Will it be the visitors from Marin who go through, or the locals from Reading Bluecoat? Here's Marin.
You can see the different style, the aggression they've got when they've gone out the blocks there. You can see the whole lifting.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a good word for it, isn't it, Mark? Particularly at this stage of the race, you've got to lift the boat up from a static start and lift it up to speed. It can sometimes be a bit more bouncy and a bit more surgy as the power goes down. Great start from Reading, though. Reading from the Bluecoat boys. Yeah, they've stayed in contact, but that's the most important thing at Henley. Getting out as fast as you can, but then getting into your rhythm, because of obviously the distance they're going to race over is kind of, as we know, is longer than they're used to racing at national scores and all the junior events they do. Yeah, well, the Marin crew has won a bunch. The San Diego crew Classic Youth 8s and the Pacific Invitational. They beat Hugh House yesterday in quite an easy fashion. The Bluecoats here had to beat Tideway Scullers to get to this race. And I'm impressed with the grit they've gone off with, because I think the Marin crew we can expect to be really fast to make this trip. And the Marin crew have got the experience, all of them, having raced here previously. And there's always an assumption, I guess, when you're bringing over like crews from abroad, that you wouldn't bring over crew unless you believe they've got a realistic chance of kind of moving through the rounds. And this Marin crew looks really slick, composed, and they're really in the rhythm there. You can just see them edging out from this shot we have here. I think you're right. You called it that they were kind of lifting the boat, and now they're running the boat, aren't they? It's a much more sort of horizontal motion as they're going through the barrier mark at about 630-odd metres down the course. Well, they're really trying to use their strength and power, getting at the start as quickly as possible, and sort of lifting that boat, getting up to speed, and then really hitting that kind of rhythm and mid-pace in a dynamic way that can really kind of move them on. So at this point in the race, you're in about 2 minutes in, and the physiology is screaming at you, right? So we know that from the science of how the body works, this is the point where your body's really telling you have to give up, and you have to be confident that you're going to get through that period and get into something you can sustain. And that's why you do all that hard training. You do this process of like pieces before you come to the event. Then have done kind of pieces in the few days leading up to kind of racing at the regatta. But it's having that confidence, all the training you've done. You've got your crew mates in front of you, making sure that you're backing them up, everybody giving 100%. Well, we've got to scatter some birds. We've got quite a lot of bird life here at Henley, and we do try to kind of keep them clear where we can take them off the course. There are people who are actually, their job is to attract them away with feed, but the Reading Bluecoat guys are used to that, and they just cleared the course. Marin, I think, are looking very strong now. Yeah, they're really into their rhythm now, just starting to move away, move over. Yeah, just trying to, we talked about breaking that contact. They look like they've done that now. And this is what I keep talking about, why I love Henley, is that you get kind of crews from all over the world coming to compete, and they've never raced before. You have literally no idea what they're going to do. Yeah, I think that's right. So what's special, obviously, there's a history, the tradition, the dueling nature of this as well. You've got no idea, and you're just up against one other crew. It's a different approach when you've got 5 or 6 crews. You're all just kind of have to almost a bit do your own thing. Here, you could really rattle somebody by going pedal to the metal early in the race. And then you get them looking round, and it upsets their rhythm. And in kind of multi-lane racing, you get to feed off the other crews. So you can sit in a pack for a long time and then move out and start chasing whoever has gone off hard. But it's so different. The mental game here is very, very different about if you're willing to take that risk sometimes and put someone under pressure. Do you find them cracking or looking around and not really focusing on what they need to be doing? What Marin need to be doing is just keeping their heads and keeping cool. They've got a nice lead coming through the middle of the course. They're into the final third or so of the course now. And Reading Bluecoat School, here we're looking at Theo Maynard, Harry Cole, Finlay Griffiths, Alexander Harrison, Isaac Mono, Samuel Lindsay Halls, Ben Nathan, Harry Floyd, coxed by Tilak Patel, 17 years old in that Cox's seat, trying to keep them motivated, keep them composed and keep them pushing through. And it's just, I love looking at kind of records and past times, and obviously Marin just went through kind of 14.305, and I think the most exceptional crew I've ever seen at Henley was that St Paul's crew that won in 2018, and they set the mark, the kind of record to fall is 2:58, so it shows you
the speed of what that St Paul's crew is, but the conditions are fast.
Yeah, they're fast, and they might get faster through the week as well. This tailwind seems to have settled in. You know, the crews here, by the way, are racing against the stream of the river, so it's a bit unusual perhaps, but there's a bit of stream on the river, so if there's not too much water coming down, that can make the conditions fast, but you also need to have a tailwind too.
And I love this shot when you look back at a crew and you just see the blades moving in sync in the gates. You just hope the blade work matches that.
What do you look for when you're looking at a crew in terms of the oars and the movement here?
Yeah, because I was just looking at the kind of gates and how they kind of swing together, making sure they're in unison. That's the first part. They might be at different lengths of blades, depending on their size and shape. Some crews will be exactly the same. You might adjust it for certain individuals due to their height.
You can see, can't you, though, the sleeves, those green sleeves around the oarlock there, the gates of the boat. That's a good indication of how people are moving. Are they juddering in the gates, or are they smoothly moving? And Marin had certainly brought a smoothness to this row today.
Yeah, they're on top of it. They look like they're enjoying this kind of closing meet as they come through the enclosures towards the end. The Cox are still making encouragement.
Yeah, that's Jacob Bobrow. He's giving it some, isn't he, just to make sure they stay focused through the line. Maybe talking them through what they would do if they were under a bit more pressure, which they might be later in the race. Congratulations to Marin, visiting us from the West Coast. Welcome to their supporters who are joining us from around the world. That's a win for them in the Princess Elizabeth, the Junior Open 8s events over the locals from Reading Bluecoat School.